Everyone thinks I did it. Everyone. Another day, another day.
American Vandal is a great mockumentary.
Dylan was a known dick drawer.
Have you ever drawn obscene images like the ones that were in the parking lot cars before?
I dabble.
And when I first watched it, I honestly thought that the joke would get old after the first couple of episodes. But towards the end, it actually has some scathing social commentary. Anyone who has went to school has known a Dylan Maxwell. Perhaps he was named Kyle, or Chad, or Grayson. Maybe he was an acquaintance that you hung out with from time to time. Maybe he was your bully in middle school. Or maybe you were him. Regardless, everyone has an idea of what this person is like. Dylan is an embodiment of every stereotype that we associate with this kind of person. He's dumb, immature, crude, perverted, insensitive, and irresponsible. He's a convenient scapegoat. I can't even content myself on the accurate but somewhat banal assessment that this show encourages us not to stereotype people, because I've seen time and time again that those who preach the loudest against stereotypes and discrimination are the first ones to throw the Dylans of the world under the bus when it suits them. And this is because they are the acceptable targets. I've seen people wish death on someone just because he has a punchable face. But I'm not here to point out double standards or that facts don't care about your feelings. In fact, our feelings don't care about facts. That's the real issue here. We would never accomplish anything if we had to rely on 100% certainty for everything in our lives. So we dumb things down. We create stereotypes of people in our minds. We all know that guy. Oh yeah, him, that jerk, that preppy rich kid from District 1. He probably watches Matt Walsh and boycotts Bud Light. He's a total Slytherin. And there's a rumor going around that he assaulted a girl, which obviously you are going to assume is true, because he's an a-hole, and he fits the mold that you've crafted for him. And you know what? You were probably correct. But what if you're wrong? Maybe there are some lost souls that will adopt this persona of the heel and play that villain role just so that they have some sense of identity. Because they know that everyone assumes the worst of them regardless, so they just embrace the stereotype. Life is a stage, and perhaps some would prefer to be miscast just so they can participate in the performance. Dylan Maxwell is accused of a crime he did not commit, and even though the show is funny and the concept quite silly, in the end, the joke is on all of us. That is what American Vandal truly tells us. We manufacture self-fulfilling prophecies and contribute to feedback loops so that everyone we meet in life turns out to be a walking stereotype of one kind or another. While American Vandal is about and takes place in high school, it demonstrates that we never grow out of this stage of life. The teachers are just as concerned about being popular and maintaining status as the students are. The adults are just as judgmental, and the show's use of social media showcases that we never really leave high school. The internet and cell phones have only made us more aware of how juvenile we really are. I appreciate that American Vandal just rolls with that immaturity. High school never ends. It doesn't matter whether it's true crime or a crime parody. The saddest part is that Dylan starts off with absolute faith in the system. He's openly honest about how he finds the prank funny, as well as admits to many things that are very self-incriminating. He does so not just because he's stupid, but more so because of trust. He naively assumes that simply due to his innocence, he will be declared innocent. He believes this. However, in reality, everyone had their mind made up ahead of time. A certain face and a certain reputation was the only evidence anyone needed to make a snap judgment. It was a kangaroo court from the get-go. The court of public opinion deemed him guilty, and throughout the trial, it was the media that was deciding his fate, even the ones fighting to prove him innocent. Facebook posts, tweets, and mob outrage, all having an impact on things. But this impact of the media extends far beyond the trial. Dylan himself is a product of the media that he consumes. He literally prepares for his court appearance by watching Judge Judy, and also thinks the authorities can prove his innocence because that's CSI shit, in his words. He fully expects to be saved and vindicated because that's what happens on television shows, and he thinks that reality TV is reality itself, that it is a template in which he can base his life on and find practical and sometimes literal application for. This is something we all do, hence the very idea of a literally me character in the first place. But this is interesting with someone like Dylan, because he's not the type of person that one would expect to be this influenced by media. People tend to look at weeaboos, gamers, and those in fandoms as examples of people who allow media to dictate too much of their lives. Dylan, by comparison, is a normie. However, his life is dictated by media no less so than the weeaboos, gamers, and the chronically online. In fact, the latter category probably have more self-awareness of the impact of media on them, whereas Dylan is oblivious and tends to take almost everything at face value, and also assumes that everything is somehow related to him personally, like when he assumes that Mackenzie's selfie post was an invitation to come over. This digital solipsism is something very common in the social media age. But despite the fact we are so self-centered, we are also more interconnected than ever before. My boy Marshall McLuhan discusses how technologies are extensions of our bodies. For example, a telescope is an extension of the eye, and the wheel is an extension of the foot. Social media, then, is an extension of the nervous system. Much like how a telescope allows you to see more, and a wheel allows you to move more, social media allows you to react more. The nervous system also dictates much of communication and memory, so these are also amplified as well. There was a viral video a few months back which showed a high school from the early 2000s, just before social media was ever present in our lives. The video is pretty simple. It is a teen walking around saying hello to everyone. Their demeanors are very calm, and some even delighted to be on tape. However, it goes without saying that teenagers now would not react so positively to someone appearing at school with a camera. People are more self-conscious now than they were just 20 years ago. Our nervous systems have been heightened, and the hilarious irony of people getting offended by this viral video is not lost on me. Dylan is a part of this nervous system. Towards the end, when he is celebrating, he watches the American Vandal documentary himself. Here he discovers what people say behind his back, what they said when he was first accused, and Dylan is forced to reflect for once. In this heightened digital nervous system, everything is recorded, nothing is forgotten. Communication is ever present. Dylan cannot forget what has happened to him. He can no longer ignore the gossip about him. Upon seeing himself in the documentary, he has been made aware of his self-image. A very negative image, that everyone thinks he's a dumb loser. A view that his teacher, his girlfriend, and even his mother all seem to believe as well. In the end, Dylan decides if he can't beat them, he must join them, and embraces the stereotype that he has been stigmatized as. His identity was carved out for him, and it makes you wonder, for how long? How long had his identity been reinforced? For how long had they all given up on Dylan? Forgive me for being all Debbie Downer on a video about a comedy show, but that's what I do in this series. I find the meaning even within the absurd. The real verdict is that we are all guilty. We are the dicks. That is the conclusion that we must draw. Our acculturation continues as we ask ourselves, what's in a me?